Copy that, sir. I appreciate it. KC8MTV. Well, I'd like to welcome those of you coming in via YouTube Live. We'll be starting the Digital Net here
KC4VA
in about 20 minutes. AG4VA, KC8MTV. How you doing, Alan?
I'm doing good. I see the logo you have on YouTube, and I hear your audio.
All right, stand by a second. I'm going to switch the camera here. We'll see if the camera view pops up. I've got the camera view right now. How's that? Is it working? I hope it's working. AG4VA, this is KC8MTV.
There's quite a lag, so maybe just catching up, but I'm still seeing the logo and hearing the audio. Yeah, I got it now. We were just inside the lag. So I see you in the lower left-hand corner, and your background, some kind of starscape at dusk. So yeah, it looks good.
All right, yeah, there is going to be a lag. I'm going to turn the microphone off here. Yeah, there's going to be a lag, obviously. I don't know what compression. I don't remember everything that I set for the compression and all that, but hopefully it won't be too much of a lag as far as the video is concerned.
Looking good. Well, I'm looking forward to the next net. I think this is the second one where you've live streamed your net control duties. So looking forward to it. Standing by. AG4VA.
Okay, sir. Appreciate you checking that out for me. Alpha Golf 4 Victor Alpha KC8MTV. We'll be starting the net here in 20 minutes.
KC8MTV, KK4IUH. Yeah, I'm getting it too. Looks good, but there is quite a delay, so not a problem. But yeah, it looks great. KK4IUH, standing by for the net.
Copy that. I guess what I would recommend, and I'll make an announcement about this, is anybody that's watching the live stream will probably want to turn down their speakers because there will be feedback, and I can't do anything about the lag, but all right, glad it's working. This will be nice. Man, you know how cool this would be to use for helping somebody out on the computer or showing tutorials? All right, we'll talk to you guys shortly. This is KC8MTV.
KC8MTV, this is KW4TO. Could I get a quick sound check, and also where is the video?
Outstanding. The sound check is perfect. The video live stream, if you go to youtube.com/KC8MTV.
Cool, thank you very much. WD3O was nice enough to meet me today and loan me his USB radio, so I'm running the HT here from Midlothian.
Outstanding. You sound perfect. That's awesome. David is a great guy. Well, glad you could join us tonight. You can see what this is all about. And my video that I'm streaming, yes, I'm a messy housekeeper. My bench is a mess. Everything's all over the place. My lighting sucks. I've been trying to figure out what to do for lighting. I'm just not a lighting expert. I think I need some of those, what do they call them? Soft white, or whatever it's called. But yeah, check it out. YouTube.com/KC8MTV.
Okay, I see it now where it says live now.
Yep, that's it. So you're going to see the logo. I was doing a test there of the live video, but I switched over to the logo, so we'll stay with that until the net starts here in about 20 minutes.
Very cool. This is KW42. I've never done a net before. This is a live video feed. What's kind of the concept? What led you to do the video, and how do you use it?
Well, believe it or not, my two boys, I've got an 18-year-old and a 24-year-old, and both of my boys are hardcore gamers. They built their own gaming systems, and my one son has I think he calls it a Twitch account, or I don't know. He's got a bunch of gaming channels that he does, and he does live streams. And so I picked it up for my boys, and I asked my son, I said, what program are you using? And he told me about this program, and I thought, how cool would that be for amateur radio, and using it for a net? So there you go.
Very cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Hybrid technology generation. Well, very good. Well, I'm going to stand back here, and I'll be standing by waiting for the net to start. This is KW4TO.
All right, good to hear you in there, and we'll look forward to hearing you check in. I think we had somebody else that wanted to do a radio check. Anybody else want to do a radio check before the net starts? Go ahead.
W4MAS. I think I'm going to do it from the truck tonight. We just got here in Louisa, and I'm not up to getting things ready in the shack. How's that for a test? Any packet loss?
Mike, you are outstanding. 0 packet loss, no degradation in your signal. You sound fantastic, sir.
Thank you very much. I'll save my update of the adventures in your area for the net. This is W4MAF. Special shout out to Glenn. Glad you could join us.
W4MAF, this is KW42. Thank you very much. Well, I have a lot to thank to Dave, WD3O, for loaning me his radio tonight. And I thank you for being my first indoctrination to Yaesu digital radio last week. And a week later, I'm checking it out. So thank you very much. Talk to you soon. KW42, standing by for the net. W4MAF, AG4VA.
Hey there, good job today. Good hearing you. Wished I had been up there sooner and wished I brought my HT with me. Well, that was a good contact from Wintergreen to Stellar. Were you actually doing a summons on the air activation of your own today? No, sir. I want to do so soon, though. I was even going to ask if I could hang out with you sometime. Doing the hike thing, hear what you have to say. I already listened as to how you handle it.
sometimes. Today I was all set up and I started calling CQ, and the person I was hiking with stepped over where I was operating and actually knocked the frequency control dial off frequency. So if you want a good example of how to do things, you might listen to somebody like N4LXP doing a soda activation. Yeah, I hear you. Whoever I can go with. I don't have to. I just think it'd be fun that way. But definitely planning to do it. My wife now has a better idea of what it's all about. We may actually just plan some kind of a weekend trip where we have lodging and I just take off for a summit somewhere and we just spend our time there. Gotta say, because I wouldn't save this for the net. It would be too much yak time, and I'll cut it short now after this. Lots of wonderful places to drive past going up to these locations. We pass brewery after brewery, cider places, vineyards, and wonderful adventures today. Well, I'd be happy to have you along anytime you want to go. Sometimes my activations like today are a little impromptu. Sometimes I plan them, and you're certainly welcome to join me. Plan something out. Let's do it. I was just saying, if you were judging today by the accidents that happened, you might listen to N4LXP when he doesn't have somebody on the trail who knocks your radio off frequency. But yeah, anytime you want to go, I'd be more than happy to have you along. Yeah, that'd be great. What was I going to make the comment about? It escapes me. Oh, the impromptu part. I mean, hey, I went up there today fully expecting to play around with my HD when we walked to what was to be somewhat the summit in Wintergreen. But yeah, I left the radios in my company vehicle. Forgot to transfer those last night. So talk about impromptu. I was just like, well, great. Let's talk. Let's have adventures with the dog and enjoy the scenery. So I get it. I was able to work K9 JEP summit to summit. He was activating a summit at the same time, close to the same time. He waited around a few minutes so I could get up on the summit so we could do a true summit to summit. So that was fun and a great day to be out. Well, I'm going to clear and let others get in here if they want to talk a little bit before the net starts in about 10 minutes. So good to hear you in there today, and thanks for the chase. Always appreciate it. W4MAF, this is AG4BA. I'll be monitoring. All right, W4MAF clear. Talk to you on the net.
KC8MTV, this is K4OPS, and I get a signal report. I'm running low power on my AC from Scottsdale.
K4OPS, you are sounding fantastic into the 145.290 repeater. Your signal's clear, no drop packets, no degradation in quality, so appreciate you checking in.
So, Kevin, can you give me a heads up on the subject this evening for this net? I'm not sure what it is, so that'd be interesting to find out what we're going to be chatting about.
The subject this evening: what radio projects are you actively working on or planning to work on in the near future?
Well, that pretty much knocks me out of the net. I have no plans for any radio projects coming up in the future. K4OPS, be clear and standing by.
We are going to have a sub-subject of the primary subject, and the sub-subject will be: what kind of subjects would you like to discuss on future nets? So you can think of that one, because I'm going to throw those both out there.
Well, all righty, we'll think on it. I'll be standing by. K4, okay. KC8MTV K4ITQ short.
K4ITQ. Go ahead, sir.
Roger that, Kevin. Just making sure that we are in digital mode, over.
QSL, appreciate you doing that, sir. You sound good.
Roger that. Look forward to the next K4ITQ.
Good evening and welcome to the KC8MTV C4FM Digital Net on the KC8MTV 145.290 MHz repeater. This net is held every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. This net is held in order to promote fellowship and share information vital to the amateur radio community here in Central Virginia. This net also provides an opportunity for amateur radio operators to become familiar with the operating procedures and practices that would be used during a real emergency affecting our area. This is KC8MTV, and my name is Kevin, and I will be acting as net control this evening. Before we get started, is there any emergency or priority traffic for the repeater at this time? Hearing none, I will continue. This is an open net, and it is strongly encouraged that all amateur radio operators check in. When checking in, please give only your call sign. Repeat it phonetically using the proper ITU phonetic standards. Then stand by until you are recognized by net control. Once all stations have checked in, I will call each station individually and request their name, location, and any other information or comments for the entire group. Again, when announcing your call sign, please speak slowly and clearly and leave a short pause to avoid doubling with other stations checking in. Once net control acknowledges your call sign, you are considered checked in. So what we will be doing is picking up the way we have been doing this in the past, is if you could key up, say this is, unkey, pause, key up again, and give your call sign. That way you can verify that you're not doubling with another station. Tonight's topic, I will ask you, tonight's topic is going to be, what radio projects are you actively working on or planning on working on in the near future? If you have no projects that you're working on or plan to work on, there is a subtopic. What subjects would you like to discuss on future nets? I think with the addition of live streaming on a net, we could do some pretty fantastic things with this. So if you have any questions or examples that you want to see in something, please feel free to tell us what you would like to discuss on a net. All right, at this time, I will drop the carrier for a few seconds to permit any Wires X, mobile, or portable stations to check in. Again, any Wires X, mobile, or portable stations wishing to check in, please call now.
This is DH Alpha Alpha 4 Delta Hotel.
KSA, November 8 Alpha Sierra Hotel.
This is KK4 IUH Kilo Kilo 4 India Uniform Hotel.
This is Whiskey 4 Mike Alpha Foxtrot and Louisa.
KM4 NHN.
10-3 GLZ John Waynesboro. This is Kilo 9 Elliot Echo Papa Mobile.
Mobile, Kilo 9 JEP. All right, net hold. Let's go ahead and start with this group of 7 check-ins. Again, for those of you that are not aware, we are live streaming tonight's net, and I apologize for my shack being a mess. My house isn't like this, just my area is like this. So if you'd like to join us on the live stream, you simply go to youtube.com/KC8MTV. Again, that's youtube.com/KC8MTV. There will be a delay. That's because of the magic of computers, networks, and the internet. So it's not as fast as RF. I apologize for that. So you may want to turn your speakers down on your computer, but you can still follow along with the on-screen visual. All right, let's start at the top of the list. Alpha 4 Delta Hotel. Give us your name, location, any comments for the net, and again, tonight's subject. Are you working on any projects, radio projects? And if not, the second subject, what would you like to discuss on future nets? Go ahead, sir.
KC8MTV and the net from Alpha 4 Delta Hotel, Dayton, and outside Charlottesville. Most of my radio projects right now are limited to stringing an antenna, and I'm also working on some FL-Digi stuff. The local Aries is practicing with FL-Digi. I've barely gotten used to WinLink and transmitting data on that, so time to move on and try to learn something else halfway. And that's about it. With that, I'll turn it back over to you. Thanks for handling the net tonight. Hope everybody has a good week. This is AA4DH.
All right, AA4DH, appreciate you checking in tonight. And the WinLink, I would really like to get somebody that's knowledgeable to do well, we've talked about doing a little training session via the repeater while everybody's working on their home computers and their signal link or whatever their interface is. But I think it would be great if we could get somebody to do a little training for us. I want to get into this in the worst way. I know there's several people, and we've got a pro actually tonight. I think Marty's our expert, so we'll ask him. All right, next on the list, November 8, Alpha Sierra Hotel, N8ASH. Give us your name, location, any projects, or what subjects would you like to discuss on future nets?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Name is Ted. I'm located in Dublin, Ohio. Yeah, I'm also going to be working with WinLink, trying to figure that out and get it going. See what hardware I need to make it work. I guess that's a biggie whenever you're in some kind of disaster situation. We had a guy speak, and he said that's pretty much all the people ask for is, where's WinLink? How can I send an email to whoever? So I guess I'll get that going and have it ready in case we need to set up an email system. That's what I got, Kevin, so we'll turn back to you and let you run down through the rest of the list. N8ASH, back to that.
All right, N8ASH. Ted checking in from Dublin, Ohio. Appreciate you checking in, Ted. It's always good to hear you on here. Yeah, I think the consensus is that WinLink is critical when it comes to passing traffic during an emergency. And we, as amateur radio operators, have the opportunity to do this at minimal cost. I'm sure, well, I don't know the prices of these signal links. Marty, I think you got one. If you check in, maybe you could give us an idea. But I know I've seen them used on eBay, so that's pretty much all you need, that and your computer and your radio. And, of course, the software. All right, next on the list, KK4IUH. Really appreciate you guys checking in from across the way there. Give us your name, location, comments for the net, any announcements. and what projects are you working on?
Good evening, Kevin. This is KC8M. I'm the EC in Powhatan County, and I'm located in northwestern Powhatan County. Coming to you through the N4 POW repeater that we link up every Saturday for this net.
Thank you.
For those of you that are interested in WinLink, there is a statewide WinLink net on Wednesdays. It's called the wonderful WinLink Wednesday net. And you can find out everything about that on Facebook page. Go to Facebook, Virginia EMCOM, EMCOM, and there's all the information you need there about the weekly net. And generally, there's about 160 check-ins to that net. My project, I got a new Anytone 5783 UV3 Pro, and that's a tri-band UHF, VHF, DMR mobile radio. And so I'm in the process of trying to write a code plug for that thing with all of those 220s and UHF and VHF and DMR channels in there. So taking me a little while, but hopefully I'll have it by next week. Thanks for doing the net, Kevin. This is KK4IUH, back to net control.
All right, KK4IUH. Jim checking in from Powhatan area. I appreciate that, Jim, and thanks for that information. I think what we need to do is have WinLink as a subject for a net. But yeah, the website that you gave us, I appreciate that. I know there's several of us here in the Vera Club that are wanting to get involved with it, and I talk to guys on the radio almost every day about this subject. All right, next on the list, Whiskey 4 Mike Alpha Foxtrot, W4MAF, name, location, any projects you're working on? If not, what subjects would you like to hear?
Hey, W4MAF, thank you very much. And I've been distracted with a phone call with somebody panicking ever since the net began. So, let's see. Probably will be quick tonight. Went to a RATS meeting last night in Richmond. What I found very interesting was one of the presentations was the Super Bowl and why there's a fluctuation in frequency of the power, 60 hertz, during the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay for the end of that. Had to play chaperone, but man, what a great topic. And went to Green today with my wife and the family dog. Forgot to bring my HD, and I only figured that out when I got there. But did from the vehicle have a few connections with people via Simplex, Alan, KG4HOT, HE4VA, and I tried to get up with Eric, K9JEB, but couldn't make that happen with my location. Got to finally make it to Miller's Bake Shop. Top it off, Edelweiss. So that made for a wonderful afternoon. And as for projects, I've got a loop antenna project, 160 meters still up in the air. Got to make that happen. And hoping to do soda and park activations this spring and summer. And working on a big presentation for a RAS presentation next month on broadcast radio and TV. That in itself is a project. You guys have a good one. Thank you very much. I throw it back to Net Control. This is W4MAF.
All right, W4MAF. Appreciate you checking in, sir, and you're sounding good. And if you missed any of the net, you can go to youtube.com/KC8MTV and replay it later. Very cool that you got to go to Miller's Bake Shop. That's an addiction of mine now. I literally pull out of the driveway and have to go by there. Their cinnamon rolls are just to die for. It's incredible. And Edelweiss. You can't beat those two places over here. All right, next on the list is, let's see, where did we leave off with my KM4NHN? Kilo Mike 4, November Hotel November. Give us your name, location, and are you working on any projects? And if not, what kind of, as far as a subject, would you like to discuss on future nets?
KC8MTV KM4NHN. Good evening, Kevin, and everyone on the net. Well, I've got a couple projects. One's kind of pushed off to the side right now, and one of them still in production as I'm and will be completed as soon as I get the funds available for it. The first one is my go kit. All I need right now is a decent mast to hold the dipoles up, or maybe a antenna like a woofer recorder or something like that. Maybe a super antenna. I haven't decided which one of the three options I'm going to do yet. And a battery and a solar cell is all I really need right now. And the second one is I've got a MHz repeater over here. And I haven't gotten the repeater pair for it yet, but I bought it at a local ham fest over here, and I only paid about $20 for it. Oh, and I forgot to mention where my location is. I'm located in Callio, Virginia, and just inside of Northumberland County. But I do have one announcement to make. I don't know. Nobody's mentioned it so far tonight, so and we may have a few newer ones listening. The Virginia QSO party is coming up in a month, on March 21st and 22nd. So hope everybody's able to participate in some of it anyway. Well, back to you, Kevin, and I thank you for running the net. This is KM4NHN.
All right, KM4NHN. Appreciate you checking in, Joe, and thank you very much for the update on the Virginia QSO party, March 21st and 22nd. Yeah, I think we need to talk that up more. I haven't really heard anybody talking about it on the radio other than on the net. So, yeah, we need to spread the word about that. Definitely get out there and have fun with that. All right, next on the list is a November 3 Golf Lima Zulu N3GLZ. Give us your name, location, and what projects are you working on, sir?
Good evening, Kevin, and to the others on the net. Name is John, and we're located in Augusta County, just about 3 miles north of Waynesboro. And currently haven't started the next project, but will be as soon as the weather breaks. But I'm going to be putting in a flagpole HF antenna. I ordered it and have it still in the box, and I'm going to be using a remote HF tuner with it at the base of the flagpole, and it actually has a flag, so it does look like a flagpole. And from what I've heard from other people that have used these, they've been very pleased. It's not going to be a 6-element Yagi. It's not going to perform like that, but it performs better than a lot of dipoles. So that's about it from here. And turn it back to you, Kevin, back to net control from N3GLZ.
Okay, N3GLZ, John, really appreciate you checking in. You know, the remote, I was talking to a guy on Facebook. He's what do you call those guys that moved down to Florida just during the winter? I'm not that old yet, so I can't remember. But anyway, him and his wife moved down to Florida. Well, he's got his shack up north, and he's got that remote thing set up. And his son goes back and forth and does changes for him. But I think that is so cool to be able to do that. All right, next on the list is our one and only, well, not one and only, He's one of the soda kings around here, or the soda goats, maybe I should say. K9JEP. Give us your name, location, sir. Any comments for the net? Any projects you're working on?
Hello everyone, this is Eric, K9JEP. I'm mobile at Bryce Resort in Shenandoah County, and I'm going through the K4MRA repeater, which is linked to my Wires X node at home. As far as projects, I'm constantly doing something on the air, so that's always a project. Did one today over on Edinburgh Mountain, and ended up with 7 contacts. Just want to say thanks to all the chasers, we really appreciate it. And I can't wait to get out again. That's about all I have. Back to net. K9JEP.
K9JEP, Eric, appreciate you checking in, sir. And yes, the chasers are very important. So if any of you guys are out there, be sure you're monitoring 14652. I know these guys really, really appreciate it, especially when it's cold out. I think they need their minimum of 4 to activate the summit, and the quicker they can get those contacts, the better for them. They could get down off the mountain. So monitor 146, and it's important to monitor 14652 anyway. So real quick, Becky and I went up to Ohio here a couple weeks ago, and I had the radio on 14652. Throw it out my call several times, all the way to Charleston, nothing. And then from Charleston up towards Columbus on Route 77, nothing. But you know where I got traffic on 14652? Right here in the Shenandoah Valley. Really appreciate you guys. I think it's important to monitor. That's the national calling frequency. If anybody's in any need of help or assistance, that would be the frequency to go to. All right, that's 7 check-ins. We've got 10 active nodes checked in on the Wires X system. And it looks like we have 12 people watching the live stream, and I appreciate that. I'm hoping this is a good format that we can use for future nets. Let's continue on with any and all stations wishing to check in to this week's C4FM Digital Net. Please call now with your call sign only.
This is. Might get a check on the portables here. I'm probably running out of string quick. This is Kilo Golf 4 Hotel Oscar Tango Portable.
Okay, let's net hold. Ray, I did get your station. Stand by. We'll go ahead with KG4HOT since he's portable. I appreciate you checking in, sir. Give us your name, location, any projects you're working on, or if not, give us some subjects you would like to hear on the net.
Well, let's see. I'm currently mobile and portable. I guess it qualifies as two. I'm just coming into Little Town of Batesville here. So I'm on handheld inside of the vehicle. So looking out for the brakes shiny guys that may cross the road in front of me. And name is Tim Tango India Mike. And to show up on the strip for you there. And I hope I can take the machine up ahead of you. I maybe might take a closing round on portables before you start. So I missed probably the signal opportunity, but hopefully it's good enough. Anyway, hey, you know, ice cream is always a good subject, but
Ice cream.
I don't really have any projects per se right now that I'm working on. Got some projects waiting. Hopefully lay one tower down and reset the pad and put another one up, but that will be a project yet to come. We'll pass it back to net. KG4HOT.
KG4HOT, Tim, really appreciate you checking in, and you're sounding fine, so you made the repeater just fine. Ice cream? We could always discuss ice cream. Has anybody made homemade ice cream? If so, what's your favorite recipe? Yeah, we could mark that down. Tower projects? Absolutely. I'm hoping to have a tower raising party myself here this spring. So we'll see how that goes. K2ULW, let me grab you here before we continue on. Kilo 2 Uniform Lima Whiskey, give us your name, location, comments for the net. If you've got any announcements, Ray, I'd appreciate it. And are you working on any projects?
Good evening, Kevin. Thanks for doing the net. This is Kilo 2 Uniform Lima Whiskey. The name is Ray, Romeo Alpha Yankee. Location is Waynesboro, Augusta County. And good evening to all. Not working on anything at this point, other than trying to get better from a fall that I had. But let me pass along, don't forget next Saturday night, the 29th, is a special day. The only month in this year that's got that extra day in it, which is the 29th. The Fusion Digital Net that we're on tonight will be on next Saturday night. And don't forget Sunday, tomorrow, the Page County Area's Net at 8 p.m. on 146.625, and the PL zone is 131.8. And then Monday night, the Rockingham County Area's Net will be on 145.130. I seen that it's back up on 131.8 for the PL zone. And if it's not up, then we'll go to the 147.225. So other than that, as I say, I'm not doing anything special for projects at this point. But I hope everybody has a great week and enjoy the nice weather that we've been having. Back to you, Kevin. KCULW.
K2ULW, I appreciate you checking in, Ray, and thanks for the announcements and information. And as always, it's important to support the Aries Nets. And so definitely, if you get a chance, check into both of those nets. While I'm on that subject of activities, those of you that are watching the live stream here, yes, I know there's a delay. I apologize for that. But if you look at your screen here, this is the Vera Club calendar website. And as you can see from the calendar, we've got a upcoming meeting on Tuesday the 3rd. I know that's a couple weeks away. But it also lists the nets that are in the area. So the -2 net is another great net every Friday. Let's see. They've got the -2 net. Oh, that's every night. My bad. So the -2 net is every night at 10 p.m. 146.850. 146.850. Very cool. And then Friday night is the 10-meter net at 8:30 p.m. on 28.490. So be sure and check those nets out. Yeah. So let's continue on. Any other stations, any and all stations wishing to check in, please call.
In 4 DSA. Yes. Kilo 4 Oscar Papa Sierra.
Kilo 4 Papa something Sierra.
The 4 Yankee Papa India.
You were on. Whoa, wait.
Yes. Whiskey X-ray 4 Charlie.
All right, net hold, net hold, net hold.
This is Kilo Echo 4. Kilo Echo 4, Kilo Echo Whiskey.
All right, net hold. Stand by a second. We had a little traffic jam there a second, and I think somebody came in on on analog, and I didn't catch that. Stand by just a moment. Whiskey X-ray 4, Charlie Victor, I believe it was. No. All right, we're gonna have to start over here.
This is Whiskey 1 Whiskey Uniform. Copy, Kevin.
QSL Whiskey 1 Whiskey Uniform. All right, stand by a second. There was a Whiskey X-ray station. I didn't catch you. And then somebody came in on analog. So let's go ahead and take these stations over again. I did copy Kilo Echo 4, Kilo Echo Whiskey, Martin, and Whiskey 1 Whiskey Uniform. Frank copied you both fine, but there was 2 other stations. Could you please go, this is, unkey, make sure you're not doubling, and then key back up with your call sign.
This is
There we go.
Whiskey Delta 3 Oscar.
Somebody's not making it.
This is 4 Victor Alpha.
AG4VA.
This is
WX4C.
Whiskey X-ray 4, Charlie.
This is Kilo Whiskey 4 Tango Oscar.
This is November 4 Delta Sierra Alpha.
Copied that.
This is Kilo November 4 India Lima India.
Romeo Lima India.
This is Kilo November 4 Yankee Foxtrot India.
All right, net hold, net hold, net hold. Stand by just a moment here. I got to clean up a couple log entries that I didn't copy earlier, but I've got them now. And we'll go back to the top of the list here. All right, let's start off with November 4, Delta Sierra Alpha, and 4 DSA. Give us your name, location, and are you working on any projects, sir?
Good evening, Kevin, and everybody on the net. This is N4 DSA. Name here is Roger, and I am in Waynesboro, Virginia, and currently actually working on getting onto 2-meter VHF WinLink. I ordered cables for my ancient Yaesu 2800M radio today. And hopeful projects are to get another wire antenna up that will enable me to work 6 through 160 instead of 6 through 80. And I need to get an antenna up that will enable me to work the 10-meter Friday night net. I tried it last night on a temporary basis and could not hear Ray on net control over in stand. So back to you, Kevin. November 4, Delta Sierra Alpha, Waynesboro.
Okay, November 4, Delta Sierra Alpha. Roger, appreciate you checking in. And yeah, I was having 10-meter. Well, my issue is with my coax, I think, but yeah, I need to work on that myself. Let's see here. Next on the list is, okay, here's the expert. This is the guy that we need to talk to about the signal link and tell us what you're working on. KE4KEW. Give us your name, location, and I know you're working on a project.
Yeah, name here is Marty, and my location is in Verona. And my project currently, right now, is this 2-meter WinLink, utilizing the Signal Link component. I actually got it going today. I couldn't believe it. I sent messages received. I am by no means the expert. I couldn't do this without David Tanks, W4. Shoot, I forget his call sign right now. Sorry about that, but that's my current project, getting that going. But there's a lot of peaks and tweaks in there. You gotta understand there. It is a little bit complicated, but I tell you, there's plenty of help out there. I know David Tanks has got me through this whole thing. Used to run this digital a long time, a few years ago, and pretty much the same package.
Forget David's call sign.
From yesteryear to today, but
I
am really excited to hear that WinLink is such a valuable means of communication. So I'm very happy to be in this mode. They're about $119, I guess, at HRO, which is, I remember years ago they were $99, so the price hasn't gone hiked up that bad. And the USB, they're really nice little units now. So then I get another one for the HF rig maybe, and so I'm full tilt towards the WinLink mode. I think that's about all I got going on right now. Oh, of course, a lot of antenna work, but other than that, well, I see Roger. I will talk to you tomorrow. And then I also see that John Glover, you're out there, I think. Derek, how you doing, buddy? And Kevin, thank you so much, buddy, for all that you do. Your net is absolutely wonderful again. The YouTube is rocking, and we look forward to many more. KC8MTV, KE4KEW.
All right, KE4KEW, Marty, it's always good to talk to you. And sounds like you're busy with projects. And I'm excited, I really am, that you got the WinLink going with that Signal Link and your 2-meter radio. That's exactly the setup I want to do. So I just got to spend time doing it. But yeah, David Tanks, his call sign is 84TJ. So yeah, I know you forgot that on the radio today too. Next on the list, we have somebody from up north, it looks like. Grid Square, Fox November 43, W1WU. Give us your name, location, and are you working on any projects?
Good evening to all, and thanks, Kevin, for doing a good job. And it's Frank here. We're in Carroll County, New Hampshire, off of the east of town, midway up the state, and we're working on a little 1200 megahertz project we're kind of playing around with. Also working on some of the association digital stuff that we're talking to you on now. And there's always a power project and a few other things that we're got going in the background. One thing I might mention is I think there was at least a handful of people that said they may be interested in checking in here tonight. I noticed that the latency at our end in particular seems to be longer. I think I tried to check in 2 or 3 times, but the alligator got me, so they put in trees, everybody, and back to net control.
All right, Whiskey 1, Whiskey Uniform. I appreciate you checking in, Frank. I was talking to Frank earlier today. He was actually checking in, I believe, 6 meters, and I thought that was really cool the way they have their system set up there. So thanks again, Frank. We meet here every Saturday night, 8 p.m., and we have a really good turnout. Next on the list, Whiskey Delta 3 Oscar. Give us your name, location, and are you working on any projects? If not, the second subject is, what would you like to discuss on the net? No food subjects, David.
KC8MTV, everyone else on tonight's net, good evening. Name is David, location Midlothian, Virginia, FM 17EM. Project, a couple. As I have done my best to get antennas, wire antennas up in the air for people who need assistance. I have a Carolina window that has to be worked on. I have an end fed that I want to turn into a sloper. Let's see. Oh yes, I have a 220 J-pole that I've realized, instead of just getting about 20 feet off the ground, why not use a tree and a paracord and get it up at about 80 feet. So hopefully that's the next project. But the biggest one and the most important one, hopefully in the next few weeks, is that I'm currently looking at a box that actually I have not even opened. It says Yazoo on the outside, it says Wires X, model HRI200. And the project is to be able to donate this to a repeater operator in the greater Richmond area. And hopefully we will be able to have Wires X capable 440 machine in the greater Richmond area, such that they can join in on the Saturday night C4FM Fusion Net. And during the week, it will be set up to default to the Virginia room, which will allow some in the Richmond area to work the KC8MTV repeater and everyone else on a HT, back to net control.
Very cool.
WD3.
Very cool. All right, Whiskey Delta 3 Oscar. David, appreciate you checking in from Midlothian. That would be so cool, being able to check in from over there via HT. All right. Oh, and the 220 J-pole. I just wrote that down here because I need to do that as well. I usually check into Tim's 220 network via HT here in the house, but I would really like to get involved with a 2-meter J-pole project. And if anybody hasn't done so, if you're interested in 220, definitely get involved with 220. Tim, KG4HOT, has done a fantastic job with the network down here. And we can show our support by getting on his repeater system. Next on the list, Alpha Golf 4 Victor Alpha, AG4VA. Give us your name, location, and what project you're working on, sir. And I need to identify. I forgot to identify.
Good evening, Kevin, and all in the net. This is AG4VA, Alan in Ivy, Virginia.
Alan?
I am always working on way too many projects. I tell people I actually don't have a list. I have a scroll, and as soon as I cross off a few, more added to the bottom, and it never ends. I've got some coax cable reroute projects I want to complete, and I've put up a dipole that's tunable from 160 to 6 meters, and I want to get that up even higher at some point. I've got all the hardware and software now I need to work FT8, which I'd like to try. And I think the hardware for that should allow me to do WinLink as well. I keep hearing about that, and I'll have to check into that at some point. I was out doing summits on the air activation today, Stellar Mountain
in the Stewart's Draft area, not too far from you, Kevin, in your backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And K9JEP, Eric, was doing a summit activation at the same time. So we were able to work summit to summit, which was fun. And always appreciate the folks who were on the air and willing to chase. I have to agree with Kevin about listening to 146520 Simplex. I always leave a rig on in the shack. Talked to a new ham just last week. I was privileged to be his first contact, which I thought was pretty cool. And I heard a dad send out a call just this evening, about 2 hours ago. He wondered if I would speak with his son. And I did. Cool. He was 7 years old and is going to be working on his ham radio license. The dad has 3 kids, and he's interested in summits on the air.
Very
so
cool.
I said, well, that's the perfect family. Once your 3 kids get their ham license and your spouse, you can climb up to the summit yourself, and your family can stay in the car and be your entire activation party from the parking lot. And Kevin, I liked your YouTube stream. It looks good.
Very cool.
The only thing I'd like to see is I'm quite sure you're strategically positioning your video camera to hide what must be a soft-serve ice cream machine somewhere in your shack. Anyway, hope everybody has a good evening. 73 to all, back to net control. This is AG4VA.
AG4VA. Alan, appreciate you checking in, sir. Oh, excuse me. Hang on. Had a coughing fit there for a second. No, no ice cream machine, but I do have strategically placed behind me a 12-volt ice chest. Runs off 12 volts. I don't know how it works, but you put drinks and stuff in there and plug this thing in at 12 volts, and it'll stay cold. I mean, just like it's in the refrigerator. It's something that I got for my work truck, and I got so much tools and whatnot, I didn't have room to keep it in there, but yeah, that's the only thing I got here in the shack. Don't ask me what beverages are in there, but needless to say, it keeps them cold. Next on the list, WX4C, Whiskey X-Ray 4 Charlie. Give us your name, location, and what projects are you working on, sir? I forgot the ID again. I need an ID timer.
Well, good evening to you, Kevin, and all on the net. This is WX4C. The name is Don. The weather forecast station located in Zenda, Virginia, which is 6 miles north of Harrisonburg. And I'm coming at you live and direct to the K4 Repeater 444.600. And my project for this evening has been opening up a box that contained a brand new FTM 400.
Outstanding.
Got it programmed with the RT system that worked flawlessly.
Yes.
And I'm actually on that radio as I speak. With that, I'm going to say 73 and good evening. And look forward to the session next Saturday night. WX4C.
WX4C, really appreciate you checking in. You're sounding good through the K4 444.600 machine. And yeah, the FTM 400, it's really my favorite radio. I think everybody that gets one can agree. It's a great radio. All the features, color screen. It's bright. It's got a very bright screen, which is great for driving during the daytime. And it was who was it? Oh, Marty. Yeah, Marty, and I can't remember who else I was testing with, but I sent pictures to their FTM 400 through the repeater, and that was very cool. So maybe next time I do the net, Maybe I'll send you guys a picture to anybody that's got the FTM 400, FT3, or the FT2. I'll send you a picture. You can see what that looks like. All right, next on the list is another Midlothian station, it looks like. Kilo Whiskey 4 Tango Oscar KW4TO. By the way, I need to take a station identification. This is KC8MTV Net Control for the Saturday edition of the C4FM Digital Net. KW4TO, take it away, sir.
Good evening, this is Glenn, Kilo Whiskey 4 Tango Oscar, coming to you from Midlothian, Virginia. Thanks to WT3O for loaning me his Yaesu radio today. So this is my first time checking into the Yaesu digital technology, and thanks also to W4MEF for showing me a demo last week for the first time of the radio. I'm just using this HT here with 5 watts into a roll-up J-pole in the house. So in terms of my projects, I've always got lots of projects. They tend to be antenna-oriented. I'm building a kit from QRP Guys, which is a company that makes small QRP kits. It's a field strength indicator kit. So it has a nice little digital readout, runs off a 9-volt battery, and you can set it up near your antennas and get actual measurements to compare them with each other. So that should be a lot of fun. And it's lightweight and portable. For the home QTH, I currently have a remote tuner set up into a doublet, which is about 200 feet long. It does tune 160 through 6, but I'm looking to experiment and convert it into a remote tuned horizontal sky loop. So that's project number 2 on antennas. And project number 3 is an idea I got from Whiskey Victor Zero Hotel. He's an electrical engineer that has some really good QRP portable antenna ideas. It's called a Park Portable Doublet. It's basically 2 pieces of wire that are 60 feet long each, and the wires serve as the parallel feed line and the antenna. So all you need is 2 pieces of wires, which goes into a balun and a tuner, and then you have a nice multi-band antenna for 80 and up. So that's kind of what I'm looking to do in the next few months. Also would like to do some soda activations. I did some in Hawaii. I was living there for the last 2 years. Got to activate a couple of the peaks on Oahu, and I'm looking to do my first ones in Virginia. Back to net. Thank you for doing the net tonight. This is KW4TO.
All right, KW4TO. Really appreciate you checking in, Glenn. You're sounding fantastic, and really appreciate David WD3O letting you use that radio. We have a lot of fun on the digital side of the spectrum with the C4FM protocol, and as you can tell, the clarity is amazing. Yeah, that's exciting that you're getting involved with those QRP projects. I just about picked up a 20-meter transceiver for, it was a QRP rig that I saw at FrostFest, and I really wish I would have got that, but I've always wanted to get into QRP. I listened to a couple of the guys that do the SOTA activations, and they talk about the QRP stuff that they've done, and it's just incredible. You don't need a bazillion watts to reach out and touch someone. QRP is a lot of fun. But it sounds like you have a lot of great projects going on, and we look forward to you checking back and giving us updates regularly. All right, next on the list, Kilo November 4, India Lima, India. KN4ILI, give us your name, I'm sorry, your name, location, and comments for the net, projects you're working on.
It's Kilo November 4, India Lima, India, John in Churchville, Virginia. Welcome. Well, I'm not very welcome, but good evening to you, Kevin, and everyone else on the net. I've got more projects than I have time to do. I've got to put up a HF antenna in the trees here, which I have not done. I have some feed line I need to work on. I have a lot of grounding I need to do. I already have a nice diamond space station antenna
for 2 meters and 70 centimeters that I need to get put up. So yeah, I've got more projects than I have time. So, but if the weather keeps up like it's been, looks like I'll maybe be able to get outside and do more of it. So anyway, thanks for doing the net here, Kevin, and I'll take it back to you. This is KN4ILI.
KN4ILI. Appreciate you checking in, John. And I think you inadvertently mentioned a topic that we could start for future nets, and that is grounding. It's funny you say that because earlier this evening I was going through some stuff here in the shack, and I picked up a ground bar and a reel of 6/0 that I want to get some grounding here in the shack and get ready for the storm season, which is coming up. So grounding, very important subject, and we probably ought to discuss that. Next on the list, November 4, Romeo, Lima, India, and 4RLI. Give us your name, location, comments for the net, any projects you got going. Uh-oh, he switched to digital, or, oh, where'd he go? We got a technical glitch. This is KC8MTV. We'll try it again. November 4, Romeo, Lima, India. Give us your name, location, comments for the net, sir. We lost Roger. No, Ralph. We lost Ralph. All right, well, looks like we're going to have to come back to Ralph. I don't hear him in there. KN4YFI. Give us your name, location, and projects you're working on. Uh-oh, I'm not hearing anybody.
For Wi-Fi, his name is Norm, and I'm in Hermitage, Virginia, which is near Fishersville. Just finishing up my latest project, which is WinLink related. I've been doing WinLink Wednesdays for a while using HF. I'm going to get into VHF. And working with David Tanks and Ralph Irons and Fred Costello, we've been playing around with getting peer-to-peer working on VHF, and lately we've gotten Digipeater working. So we got it set up so that if you fire up your sound modem software through the signal link, it can work as a Digipeater, or it can work in peer-to-peer, or it can work to a gateway. So that's a really cool accomplishment that we've managed to do, and I'm going to kind of just use that one for a while, and I don't have any other projects on my plate right now.
Excellent. So I got
an internet gateway station on VHF. That's of course what you do on HF. You can connect with either peer-to-peer with individuals or gateway stations, which will automatically forward that email for you.
We had a double there.
And we'd just like to get that going on. Story here, Kevin. KC8MTV and 4RLI.
Okay, November 4, Romeo, Lima, India. Ralph checking in from Stanton. Ralph, just an FYI, we copied the WinLink and that was about it. You were dropping in and out really bad. It was interesting because it was like you had full scale into the repeater, but your audio was dropping out or something. KN4YFI Norm, I copied your complete transmission, so we copied all of that. But Ralph, I'm going to go back to you real quick. Do you want to try it again, sir? November 4, Romeo, Lima, India.
Okay, Kevin, maybe you could give me a report and let me know if my signal is making it in to the repeaters okay now, N4RLI.
Yes, Ralph, you're sounding perfect that time. Perfect. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, well, I was just saying that I've been active on HF WinLink for quite a while, but I'm currently trying to get better set up on VHF with a little bit more power than just my handy talkie and an antenna a little bit better than my vertical dipole taped into the kitchen window. So we'll be putting up a base station outdoor antenna, and I've got a 60-watt radio now, a Yaesu, just an analog radio, and we'll be giving VHF WinLink more of a try here. So back to net, N4RLI, back to net.
All right, November 4, Romeo Lima, India. Yeah, it was a perfect copy that time. And yeah, I think the consensus is this WinLink. I think we definitely are going to mark this as a subject. KN4YFI, Norm, I had a question for you because you were talking about the WinLink as well, and with all the help that you're getting, are you when you are getting this help from like Ralph and David and others, are they giving you help over the radio, or how are you coordinating all this? The reason I ask, I think it would be great if we did something like this on the radio, that we all meet at a certain time and do it all at once. But I'm curious, how did you pick up on all this?
This is Data for Wi-Fi. So I guess how I first got into it was Fred and I got on peer-to-peer on VHF to go over my settings, and then we tried going back and forth, and it got peer-to-peer working with WinLink that way. And then it just kind of grew from there between email and testing and all that, and I came up with a couple ideas, David had a couple ideas, and we managed to get the peer-to-peer working and then the digipeater working, and it's just been kind of through email contacts and testing and a little bit of hunches and trial and error. So that's how basically we got it working. I think both David and I have gotten our digipeaters working, and Ralph has certainly tested it with David and myself. So between the four of us, I think we've been kind of testing it and making sure things work, and it's just been kind of a little round robin thing, and for Wi-Fi.
Okay, Norm, I really appreciate that. Yeah, it sounds like Ralph and David are and it sounds like maybe you too would be the source for the help to get this going. All right, I appreciate that, guys. We'll definitely be doing that for an upcoming subject. All right, it's 9:03 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 2:03 UTC time. Anybody else wishing to check into this week's C4FM Digital Net, please call now.
This is
K4OPS.
K4OPS, Kilo 4 Oscar Papa Sierra.
Outstanding, sir. All right, anybody else? We copied K4OPS, and we had a text check-in, KN4UEK. Anybody else wishing to check in before we close up tonight?
Recheck, Whiskey Delta 3 Oscar.
Of course. All right, Whiskey Delta 3 Oscar. Go ahead with your recheck, and then we'll continue on with K4OPS.
KC8MTV, everybody else on tonight's net. Just wanted to make a quick message.
if you happen to have a wire antenna project, spring is coming, March 21st. And hopefully my schedule is going to now permit some time to get back what I love doing. It's putting paracord in trees for hams to get their wire antennas over the tree. It looks like I have, with some assistance from the K4IUH, I'm now up to 6 2-ounce weights. Those are first come, first serve. If you need help on an antenna project, I certainly don't mind helping. My only request is I need about 80 PSI available, and you take care of any thorns that I may encounter, and we'll get it up and over a tree. Send me an email. I'm good on QRZ, and we will get together and come up with a time to get you on the air before spring. I'll turn it back to Net Control.
All right, WD30, appreciate that. And yeah, David came over to my house and brought that launcher, and it's amazing. And if you don't have one, it seems like a pretty simple project too. All right, next on the list, K4OPS. Give us your name, location, any projects you're working on.
Good evening, Kevin. This is K4OPS. My name is Lou. My location is Scottsville, Virginia. I don't have any radio projects per se or antenna projects, but I do have an interesting thing I ran into. A friend of mine and myself have been visiting a place here in Troy, Virginia called East Coast Preppers. And it's run by a man named Robert Snow. And what Robert does is he teaches classes on prepping and, food preservation and canning and, electrical backup and all that stuff. And he has a warehouse full of food and everything you need to prep. And so we got on the subject of radios because he does sell the little, like the little BTEC radios, the handhelds. And so I told him I was a licensed ham, and we got talking. And so what we're actively trying to do right now is find someone to come out, possibly and run a class, and just give some general information about ham radio and how it works and operates and get people familiar with it. And I thought that would be a great way to introduce it to some of the folks that come to these little classes, and maybe be able to get some people involved in actually getting their licenses and joining the club. And so that's my little project for right now. I am going to bring it up at the meeting, whenever our next meeting is on Tuesday, whatever Tuesday that is, at the AARC. So that's all I've been doing, and I'll turn it back over to you, Kevin.
All right, K4OPS, I appreciate that. Yes, that's an incredible idea to have a little primer to what amateur radio is, what it's all about, what you can do with it. My wife and I, Becky, KC8NQE, we taught a emergency preparedness class at our church in Ohio, and it was interesting because, we covered the basic subjects, food, shelter, water, and when we got to the subject about communications, it's like, well, we got our cell phones. What do we need to talk about? And it's amazing that people are so reliant on their cell phones and they didn't really think of other communications. I think we covered subjects like the FRS radios, but we also talked about the amateur radio. And out of that class, we ended up having like 3 people that got their license. So they did, in fact, find interest in it, and I don't think they would have otherwise if it were not for us sharing that with them. So yeah, definitely a great idea. Appreciate that. I've got a text check-in, KN4UEK. I've got you checked in, David, and I appreciate that. All right, just one thing I want to go over here before we close down the net. David, KN4UEK, is going to be running the net next Saturday night, the 29th at 8 p.m. And the subject that he has for the net is, if you were stranded on a desert island, what would be your radio of choice? So next week, think about that. If you were stranded on a deserted island or a desert island, what would be your radio of choice? And that's going to be next week, the 29th. One other thing I wanted to remind everybody, QRZ. I know somebody mentioned something about QRZ earlier, but it's important. Go to QRZ, make sure all your information's up to date, and your email, because that's how other hams get in contact with you. Stand by just a moment. Wow. All right. I think that was the only other thing that I was going to cover. We talked about the Vera Club calendar and the -2 net and the 10-meter net. And is there any other comments or announcements for the net before we close down? All right. I would like to thank, let's see, we've had 21 check-ins. I would like to thank the 21 check-in stations for checking into this week's C4FM Digital Net. At this time now, I will return the repeater back to its normal operation. Please be sure to check in next Saturday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern for the KC8MTV C4FM Digital Net on the 145-290 MHz repeater. This is KC8MTV, closing down the net at 9:12 p.m. Eastern. This is KC8MTV. Have a good night, folks. I'm going upstairs to get some ice cream.